After my first son was born, I experienced a mysterious illness that my doctor wasn't able to diagnose. I had major digestive trouble for months on end. Basically, everything I ate just went straight through me. My weight dropped to nearly 100 pounds. I had severe pain on the lower right side of my stomach. And about 6 months in, I started to show some pretty noticeable signs of malnutrition. So I went to see my doctor several times. She ran testing for celiac disease, parasites, autoimmunity, blood work, and everything came back normal. So in the end, she ended up recommending a probiotic and said, I really hope this helps, but if not, time will heal. And that was that. So I ended up going to see a naturopath just to get a second opinion. And this was really a huge turning point in my life because not only did this lead to a diagnosis of what's called ileocecal valve syndrome, and I'm going to dive into this in today's video, but for the first time in my life, I actually got to experience the power of natural healing. And this completely changed my outlook on health and wellness. So if you're new here, welcome. My name is Bri, and I'm on a mission to help you transform your health and feel your best one step at a time. So my first appointment with the naturopath started off with an hour-and-a-half discussion talking about my health history, all the symptoms that I had been experiencing, and honestly, it was the most thorough health evaluation I've ever had. At that point, I was used to seeing my doctor, having a quick 5-minute chat, and that was it. So I was really impressed with all the questions she asked, how thorough it was. And in the end, she did recommend a few supplements and also suggested that I do what's called food sensitivity testing. And that turned out to be one piece of the puzzle because I did find out that I had a pretty severe sensitivity to gluten. And I talked about that in my last video. But it wasn't until she made the recommendation that I see her colleague, who was an osteopath, that all of my digestive issues, chronic pain, all of the symptoms that I had been experiencing postpartum completely went away. And at that point in time, I had never heard of an osteopath. I had no idea what the appointment would even entail. But as soon as I laid down on the table and he touched the lower right side of my stomach, he immediately knew that it was ileocecal valve syndrome. And he did a few minor adjustments, which involved applying pressure to my shoulder, my hips, my stomach, and I instantly felt relief. I actually started crying, because at that point I had just been suffering for so long and felt like I wasn't getting any answers. It was just such a huge relief. And it only took 2 appointments for all of my symptoms to completely subside. He told me reassuringly that I was healthy and strong, but that an emergency C-section takes a huge toll on the body. And this kind of trauma and stress can ultimately cause the ileocecal valve, which connects the small intestine to the large intestine, to malfunction. So it might stay open too long or sealed shut when it shouldn't. And when this happens, this can lead to chronic digestive issues or severe pain, which is exactly what I experienced. Some of the other symptoms can include shoulder pain, lower back pain, nausea, reflux, bloating, headaches, brain fog, joint pain, heart palpitations, dizziness, and big emotions. So long story short, in the end, he told me that he didn't heal my body. He just helped to restore balance so that my body could heal itself. And this was honestly the first time that I had ever heard something like this from a healthcare professional. Because up until this point, I think I really viewed my body as being flawed. If I got sick, it was a sign of weakness and I needed a pharmaceutical to solve and fix the problem, or surgery in a more severe case. And I never fully acknowledged my body's innate capacity to heal itself. But since this experience, it has completely transformed my approach to health and wellness. And this happened 6 years ago. I would say since then, everyone in our family has been the healthiest they've ever been. So I wanted to share this video for two reasons. Number one, based on my research and the conversation that I had with my osteopath, ileocecal valve syndrome is way more common than people realize, especially for women who have given birth via C-section. These symptoms are very common, but they often go misdiagnosed as IBS because most GPs aren't trained to check for it. So I really want to help raise awareness, and if you've experienced any of the symptoms that I've described or you know somebody else who has, please share this video. Number two, if Western medicine has failed you, please don't give up hope. I know myself, I was always conditioned to think of natural healing or alternative medicine as being total quackery. But here I am today at 38 years old, and without a doubt, I know this couldn't be farther from the truth. And as a society, I think collectively, we're really missing the mark with healing in general. You know, this idea that there's a pill for every ill, and if you get sick, you need a pharmaceutical to solve the problem. This is not true. In fact, I think in many cases, we're doing more harm than good, because pharmaceuticals are very effective at masking symptoms, but they don't actually address the root cause. They don't actually solve what's going on beneath the surface. And this is why so many people are stuck on pharmaceuticals for decades at a time, because they're not actually getting better. They might feel better, but that doesn't mean that you're actually healing from within. So if this resonates with you, I really encourage you to explore the world of natural medicine, whether it's an osteopath, a naturopath, a homeopath, a chiropractor, even just seeing a nutritionist to talk about how diet might be impacting your health. That really is the foundation, in my opinion. So this has been my journey. This is what really inspired me to start this YouTube channel in the first place. So if you want to learn more, I encourage you to hit that subscribe button, and I hope to see you in the next video.